So this video is about how to use the factoring flowchart that's been provided to you. And basically this is just a way to identify which type of factoring you should be doing. And that's because up until now we've been doing one kind in each lesson, but ultimately it's going to be up to you to decide which method to use, and they'll all be scrambled up, so you need to be prepared for that. So first of all, when you start, do all the terms have a common factor? So all along I've been saying that from the beginning you need to check for a common factor first. So if they do, here's an example. These both have 3 and x in common, so you put that out in front, and then you're left with x minus 6. Okay, so that's factoring out a common factor. If they don't have a common factor, or once you've factored out the common factor, go here and start counting the number of terms. So for example, this has 2 terms left, but because it says count the number of terms left inside the parentheses, so in this case it would be 2. But otherwise you're counting terms, and if it has 2 terms, there's a couple different options. It's either the difference of 2 squares, the sum or difference of perfect cubes, or maybe nothing at all, cannot be factored. So remember, difference of 2 squares, you're going to do 2 sets of parentheses, and we're going to have 2x, 2x, one's plus, one's minus, and then 5 and 5. And then for sum or difference of perfect cubes, so you do the cube root of each part, so this cube root is 5, and then we can do our song. First times first is first, last times last is last, first times last is in the middle, isn't this a blast? The first sign's from the problem, the second it's reversed, the third is always positive no matter what the first. Alright, so then from there, those are the examples of what to do if it has 2 terms. If it has 3 terms, then you want to basically check if the leading coefficient is 1 or not, to see if you want to do the shorter way or the longer way. So for this case, we're going to see what multiplies to 6 and adds up to -5. So that's going to be -2 and -3. So this will be x minus 2 times x minus 3. And notice that if it doesn't have something that multiplies to the c and adds up to the b, then it cannot be factored. Okay, but if it does, this is the factoring. On this side, we're going to try and find 2 numbers that multiply to 30 and add up to 17. And so 15 and 2 will fit that criteria. So I'm going to have 10x squared plus 15x plus 2x and then plus 3. And really, I'm going to go ahead and look up at the next part, because once you have 4 terms, okay, does it have 4 terms, you are now going to factor by grouping. Okay, so we're going to split the middle term and factor by grouping. So in this case, factor by grouping, basically you could come down and you could see it, the example here. And we're just going to take the first 2. What do they have in common is going to be 5x, and we're going to be left with 2x plus 3. 2x plus 3, the only thing they have in common is 1, so you'll pull out a 1 and be left with 2x plus 3. And so then 2x plus 3 is the common factor, and you're left with 5x plus 1. So this is the full factoring, okay? And if factor by grouping doesn't work, I don't have that on here, but basically it's possible that it could not be factored as well. But you're going to want to use this as you go through and determine which kind of factoring you're going to be using, okay?